It's the ambition hour, baby. 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 Yo, and welcome to the Ambition Hour podcast. It's your girl, Claudia on the airwaves. And this is episode 207. I ain't gonna hold nobody.
207. Oh, we gotta make sure it is 207?
Yeah, I have to make sure that it is 207.
Low key, you know when you potting, you motherfuckers be potting. Let's see.
Those claps are crazy. They're going crazy in my headphones. But hello everybody. Welcome yet again to another episode of the Ambition Hour podcast. It's your girl Claudia Renee on your airwaves with my co-host Top 600 in the building. Coming at you guys for it is episode 207. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's why they was clapping so loud.
For real, I felt it. I needed that. That hyped me up for the episode. Guys, welcome back to another episode. Man, it's been 2 weeks since we have seen you guys.
Far too long.
I felt like it was Easter. There's sometimes ever since we took the break last year, I always feel like when I want a break, I should just take it. So here we are. Good to have you here. I know that we are excited because we have some new equipment and things like that. So
newer things, bigger and better, always looking to improve.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Carlos said some shit, some crazy shit. My barber Carlos, shout out to Carlos, lining me up and shit. He said some shit like, the iPhone gets updated, so every single now and then we got to update. And sometimes updating, not just, from within, you got to update yourself from within, be on some new shit, on some new level shit. But also, like, you got to get sometimes new stuff or upgrade some shit. And even, like, looking at the room, that's also why, like, a little bit of the break of the podcast, people that do podcasts or don't do podcasts or have ambitions to do a podcast, like with doing 200 episodes, things can become stagnant or things can become almost like repetition. Like it's like when you're going to the gym and you're not working out as hard as you were when you first went because you've been so consistent for the last 6 or a year in some scenarios or in our scenario, right, Claudia?
yeah.
And you want to like adjust things or improve on things, so new sets, expect some new things to happen to the room. Maybe we get, some different flares going on, some new mics. You gotta speak it to existence too. Like once you start thinking about it, shit starts actually happening though.
Amen.
That's how I see it too. So,
or even when you say it on a platform, it's almost kind of like you're
right,
being
like
held accountable.
Yeah, right. It's like stamping it, saying like, yeah, I stand by it. Yeah, for sure.
I'm like struggling, Hav. What side? I feel like is this side better for the hair, or was the other side better?
For those not listening,
for those not
watching,
I guess I'm technically still doing my hair during the episode.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure you are subscribing on YouTube as well, for you can get the notification. Sometimes sometimes it depends. Where would it get uploaded first? So stay up to date and be subscribed on both platforms.
Yes.
I think. Let me see it the other way, Loki.
The other way was like this. I feel like this is a little bit more calm, and then like this side is just like.
Maybe if when we switch up topics, when
we switch up topics, we know the next topic is coming because of the hair flip. All right.
Right.
Well, let's start the episode how we always start it, by saying what we are grateful for. Please do this the honors of going first.
All right. So what I'm grateful for is, man, so many things, especially this week. One is damn. Oh my goodness. I am grateful for, I'm grateful for actually, I always feel like I say this, but I feel like I'm grateful. I'm actually going to say what I sometimes deem as a weakness to myself. I'm going to now be grateful for it.
Okay.
Because even with the decision of getting the new stuff, I had to like consult you, even like with Spitz or even with Stepsis. That's dramatic. That's Chris. With Chris or just with people or even talking to Tragic or talking to Alejandro, like talking to people, consoling with people, and just being like, dang, do you think I should do this? What about this? You know, or hey, what do you think about that? You know, sometimes I feel like, fuck, man, I should just be like on the go. And I love this Big Sean line, like the every decision takes 5 seconds. You know, like just 5 seconds. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And you know, when you're financially stable, as we assume that Big Sean is, you know, like, so, but you're a little different. So maybe sometimes financial decisions come into your decision, right? Or what you're planning to do is inevitably has to do with finance. So, right, because is it this part, or should I get this part, which is $100 or a $50 difference here or there? Or do you think I should do this even, right? Like, do you think I should do this? And then just, because with that just came praise or reassurance of just like, man, you should do it. You should do it. Like, you deserve it. Or go get it. You got it. Or it sounds like you made up your mind. You have it all. Like, you have it figured out, or you know what you're going to do, or how to tackle this, or to tackle this financial debt in some way or another. You know, you seem to maneuver. You know, you can maneuver through that. So I'm grateful for just being a little bit like of an open book. And I'm going to be more open, too, because, like, honestly, guys, like, in past episodes, like, I cringe at it. Or sometimes when I watch episodes, some of my music videos or even songs, because I feel like sometimes I was always, like, trying to put up an act. Because I understand this has been, like, a 2-year journey. My bad, Claudia. I was about to sit back and, like, really start talking because, like, on some real shit, this has been like a 2-year, 3-year journey that we've been on, right? Because, and with that, in the beginning, you came in. I'll speak of how I'm just gonna speak how it was for me. Came in as myself, and then after a while, you look and you try to see, damn, where could I improve? Man, I need to wear some shit like this, or I need to come off as this, or I can't. Maybe I shouldn't talk as normally as I talk. I need to talk slower, or maybe I should talk calmer. Maybe act a little cooler than I am, or not share as much. Nah, I'm gonna talk to you guys like how I'll talk to anybody, you know, like every day, anywhere, anytime. Like, I'm gonna just show up as me, because I would do those adjustments, and when I was doing those adjustments, I was furthering away from the real Javier. So, or the real the Jav 600, because that's all the same person, you know, like, it's
definitely,
you know, like, it's a mantra, or like, you know, just because I identify as Jav 600, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean like now it's a made up character. Now, like, oh, that's your Jav 600 side. You know, I remember, now I'm going off the rails, Claudia, pull me in. I remember when I would hang out with females and stuff like that, like, you know, when you off the hand a little bit, or when you smoked a couple, they're like, oh, well, you act a little different. I value when a girl is comfortable and able to tell me stuff like that. But dang, it's like, that's like one of the worst things I hate to hear. You know, because I would hate for me to be adjusted due to a certain circumstance or a substance.
You
know, so damn, killed that. But yeah, you know, that's what I'm grateful
for. Nice. Thank you for sharing.
What are you grateful for, Claudia?
Ooh. This week I'm grateful
Audi 3000.
I'm grateful for 2 things. I'm grateful for this new job that I am at, because it's so close to my home.
That's real. We were talking about that too. We're like, blessings that I got this job.
Like, I
love this new job.
Like, it was insane how far I had to go to see my wax lady. Like, and that's where I used to drive every day, where she like, in the area that she lives in. I used to have to drive to that area every single day. I would have to take the highway, pay tolls, be in traffic, be in that highway traffic. Jav doesn't even, I can't even compete with Jav's traffic, because he was coming from a whole nother, maybe, you know, 30 sector. Minutes. Yeah, a whole nother 30 minutes of where I was originally coming from. So and that's just the whole like commute of like it being so easy to get to and from home, and it being so accessible, and getting out at 2:00 on Fridays, and just enjoying that, because I have never worked anywhere where I was getting out at 2:00 on a Friday, unless I was working at 7 a.m. or usually it was like I was working at 7 a.m. and I would get out at 3, never 2. And the times that I would get out at early, like half a day or something like that, it would basically be that.
You bring up a good point, though, because a lot of people sometimes sacrifice commute, or just for economically, or that job is paying more outside of their city. But there's nothing that could compare, like Claudia's saying, being home within 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
It's insane to me.
And
no traffic, no no tolls and no highways.
No highways. It's like it's lights. I got to think about lights and stop signs, and around a street area that I know is like sometimes there's traffic, but it's never going to be as bad as coming from like the Gables to here. Coral Gables. It's like, give or take, it's like a 30-minute commute without traffic, and then with traffic, it's probably up to an hour to 30 to an hour 30.
Yeah, because when Javi used to work in Coral Gables, I remember him coming home like at 6:15, 6:20. He got out of work at 5. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, and because I know there's people too, like in California, like they'll live in San Jose and work in San Francisco, and of course, I'm not telling everybody to do this, but if you can and find something that's a little bit closer, and I don't have kids, and I know, like, especially if you're close to home, closer to the kids, just in case anything happens, closer to their schools, you'll be a little bit more just like mentally stable, because a lot of times we're rushing to get out of work to go pick up something or to come check up on something. Mm-hmm. Or I know coworkers that do have kids that they do, oh damn, daycare closes at 6:30, I leave here at 6, I gotta get going. There is no time to fuck around, because if I do, then it's late, then I gotta pay more, and then when I pay more, that affects the budget. Mm-hmm. So if you can look around and see what you could do to live a little bit or cut down your commute too. That's what the pandemic taught us too, guys. And
we
don't
gotta go to the office.
Yeah, and also not just relying on our jobs. We still on our shit. We still pushing this podcast. We're still doing things outside of work. That selling shoes every now here and then. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, and by the way, most of y'all don't know this, but this is Sean John. Yeah, a lot of motherfuckers ain't wearing this shit, but guess what? That's what I'm on. I'm about to put Sean John back on this bitch.
I know that's right. Right here on the Mission Hour podcast, we're bringing Sean John back.
Hell yeah, bro. That's how comfortable I am, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is what I wanted when I was a jit. You know
Hell
what I mean?
Yeah.
Legit this shirt. I wish I had this shirt. You know what I mean?
This girl that I follow.
That's that Y2K aesthetic for y'all dumbasses, man. Ask about me,
There's this girl that I follow on Twitter that she said that she got the whole Sean John velour suit.
We were watching. That's
yeah.
tough. That's
and
tough.
The baby
that's
blue,
tough.
that reminds me of the I really want to be with you, Fab, in the early 2000s.
Dang, I was just thinking about Fab, the baby back throwback jersey and all that shit. That's so into
Fab doesn't get enough credit for he had some wild fashion takes or senses, but he really made the bandana with the hat.
Okay to rock in
Cameron,
public?
but it was just different ways that they would do it. I don't know.
But remember, we were
watching. I
just
felt we can't just not honor Fab.
Let's just talk about the whole 2000s though, the whole 2000s, because we're talking about Sean Paul and all that stuff.
My God, yes. Okay, so real quick, another thing that I'm grateful for is that I went back to the gym, and I've been going at 5 a.m. and so that's been kind of cool. I posted on my Instagram, and people have been super supportive of that, and believing in me and cheering me on and things like that, and that makes me so awkward. Because it's just because you always you sometimes when your body changes, you're just hoping nobody really notices, but it's just no, you don't look like that anymore, Claudia, and that's okay, because I still look good. The thing is that I am happy with how I look, but I also have to acknowledge that I'm not the healthiest that I can be. So that's where the lifestyle changes come from. So so let's go back to Sean Paul.
Well, that's the 2000, that whole 2000 aesthetic of the bandana and stuff like that. Claudia was a big Sean Paul fan. Claudia was low-key. Claudia's been a Jamaican in her part of her life. She's been Haitian in her part of her life. There's these adaptations of Claudia, or what? In an alternate universe, there's that Jamaican Claudia girl or that
Dominican. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, for real. Claudia was Dominican for 2 summers. That's a fact. That's a fact. I was Dominican for about 3 summers. Dude. That's neither nor there.
That's the beautiful thing about living in Miami, or not just Miami, just being a Latina and growing up in
Yeah, because all those places are Caribbean places, actually.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
They're all, like, islands.
Yeah, they're all like islands.
Yeah, that's dope.
The funny thing is that I'm not from an island. Like my family is not from an island, but I don't know. Like I feel like a part of somewhere in my family, somebody was a part of islands because like I have some cousins that they feel the same way that I feel, like about the music, about the sun and the beach and the water and the the Latin music and even like reggae. Like I love reggae, like how I was saying. But Sean Paul was like, I grew up listening to his music and like dancing, watching his music videos, practicing the dance moves, trying to get that down packed. I was telling Hav because Sean Paul was on another podcast, which is Full Size Run. Shout out to that podcast, dope podcast. If you love sneakers, you should definitely watch it. And if you don't, you could still watch it because it's pretty cool.
It's pretty funny. Got a good guess.
Yeah, and so they had Sean Paul, the artist, and like we were just saying, Sean Paul was like really big into the 2000s. We can also like put like how Hav was saying Fab.
Or like the jeans, like
the whole jean tuxedo, like how he was saying, the clean Air Forces, the Bapes, the Canadian is a Canadian tuxedo.
It's a Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah. So, and then him, also just like wearing some like outlandish things and kind of like. To me, that was always just like the Jamaican way to dress. It wasn't so much like, oh, he's doing too much or he's trying to like, make something trendy. It was just like, no. Like this in Jamaica is how we dress. And that's something that we got to learn on Full Size Run, that it was just like, no, like that's fresh. Like we see it and we're just like, what the hell is he wearing? And he's just like, no, that's drip. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, something like, I guess, like pulling in a little bit from the documentary that we're seeing on the Lakers on HBO, it was a little bit like almost like with Kareem, because Sean Paul said there, like the more he got big or whatever, he would want to support more of like Jamaica, or like show his support to the culture of where he comes from and the community. So doing things like that, like wearing, like this is what we wear or this is what we do, like putting it onto like the world became a bigger thing rather than just freaking being famous and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool and powerful. So salute to Sean Paul and shit in that era, that whole 2000, when that was on the radio. So Into You was on the radio.
Listen, I was telling
rapper
Hav,
50 Cent was coming up.
I was telling Hav that there's been times where I y'all know I love going out, I love dancing, I love hitting the dance floor. One of my favorite things. Hopefully I do that tonight. Dying to do that tonight. So I know that every time that I go out, it is more than likely that I will be listening to the DJ is going to be playing a Sean Paul song. Doesn't matter which one it is. This might be one. You're going to hear a Sean Paul song in the nighttime. So shout out to, in the nighttime. I'm thinking of the nighttime already. You're going to hear a Sean Paul song when you go out. So
Clyde's already outside.
Yeah. I'm ahead of time. I'm in the future. Beaches. But I'm here.
Rocking with y'all.
So there was something that I wanted to share with you guys, which is kind of like things that I've learned about starting a podcast or like just having a podcast in general. And one of the things that I wanted to share was that sometimes because you want it, like you've always wanted it, it doesn't mean that you're going to always want to do it. So example, us taking a break. There's been times where I decide that I want to take a break because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel up to it. My energy isn't going to be good. I know that all of that is going to transpire into how I do my makeup, how I do my hair. And then that's going to be shown on the camera. And on camera, I don't want to look like that.
You can't hide either on the camera.
Yeah, like I can't hide on the camera. I can't lie to myself. I see.
There's only so many of these we could do.
Yeah, like
tune out.
Yeah, like I see this. I'm seeing myself when I'm recording, so I know how I'm feeling in all of these things, and I as a host, you try to be aware. But it's just like, yo, I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, and I'm finally doing it. So then there's those times where you feel like, damn, like I'm not doing enough, or not even so much that I'm not doing enough. It's more along the lines of like, man, you've always wanted this. You're ungrateful. Like you've always wanted to do this and you're ungrateful because you're not stepping up to the plate, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And then sometimes it's just like, yo, but like sometimes you can get burned out. You know what I mean? Like even when it's your dream or your dream job, or like how some people say, like, I don't have a dream job. Like I don't dream of working, you know? And it's just like, oh, but you know that you try to make it seem like, oh no, but this is like my dream come true. And this is like you see, I'm gonna keep going around in circles when it comes to what I'm talking about, because it's just what it is that just because you've always wanted to do it doesn't mean that you're going to always want to do it. That's something that I've learned doing this podcast. Another thing that I've learned doing this podcast is you got to start with what you got. Like you can't start with what you don't got. Okay? Like shout out to Jim Rome, because that's who I learned it from a lot of years ago. And I still hear that in my head. So shout out to Jim Rome for that. But it's just like you can't get started with something that you don't got. The room that we have today isn't the room that we had when we started. Like we started in the studio. You know, we had the engineer. We had the guests come to the studio. I was paying for the studio sessions for the podcast. And I was paying even for during the setup time too. Like that was part of all of that. And so for it to be that, to then eventually move into our living room, because that's what we had at that moment. We didn't have anything else. We had what was given to us, and our parents were so nice enough to do that for us. And so that was something that grateful. Yeah. Shout out to our parents. And then eventually
big up.
And then eventually it moved into where we have our own room. There's a studio, there's a setup, there's cameras, there's a camera, there's lights, there's a TV screen that is, you know, dedicated.
There's legit daily reminders about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You
it's
know?
Just like you cannot go into this room and not know that, okay, greatness is in here. You know what I mean? So, but we would have never gotten here if we didn't start with what we had. And what we had was nothing in the beginning. We had what was it, that laptop that had to stay connected?
Yeah, that shit. If that shit got unplugged,
it was over.
Bruh. See, it would be like shit like that right there. I used to like, don't talk about that. But like now we got you shit like that. You embrace it. You got to talk about it, you know? And that shit about the story that I love, that I would never change that. Because exactly, like, look at where we are now. Also a little bit, not just podcasters, you know, people that are running businesses or opening businesses or have a certain career pursuit, you know, just because it's a good opportunity, you got to do this. Just like Claudia's saying, just because it is that, doesn't mean that you always got to overextend yourself for that.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling up to it, I was watching the Kobe doc, and of course Kobe Bryant did never not feel up to playing basketball, but he talked about feeling.
One could only hope to be at his stature.
Right, yeah. You know, like that's why he's Kobe. You know, like there's not Kobe Bryant's growing on trees, but he was just talking about like sometimes you just know when it feels good. Like he talked about the night at the Garden where he scored 60. Like before a shoot around, it was like. Because Spike asked him, like, oh, what, the shots and warm-up were just draining? You were like, I'm going to go. He was like, no, they're not even like they were going in. It's just, I felt good. It was like that energy. But like what Claudia's saying, she felt good. She knew that, like, hey, this time I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do the makeup with patience and do it with the proper work that it takes, rather than fucking be like, fuck, man, we got to put this on or whatever like that with the makeup thing, the hair, the setup, even us doing this, you know, it has to feel right to you in order to do it. And I know times that me performing, there's sometimes, or being with people or sticking around in a conversation or whatever like that, lingering along, that it's just like, damn, I'm trying to do this because I'm trying to do it. Guess what? Newsflash. If you're doing it, you're doing it. Point blank, you know, that doesn't mean that, oh, like I didn't make a song today or you didn't cut a hair, you know, oh, my bad, as barbers, shout out my barber in the beginning, but like you didn't cut a head today, you know, that doesn't mean you ain't a barber anymore, bro. You know what I mean? Like that means it was your day off, or you know, you had to go unfocused. Sometimes there's times you got to fill back your cup, especially here at the Ambition Hour podcast, because we're giving up all of us, like us. We're giving you real shit that happened to us, the relationship shit, our musical taste, our TV takes, you know, like all that stuff. We're giving it to you guys raw.
Yes, sir. Another thing that I have learned is not every guest is the best guest. And that's okay. We've had a lot of guests, and wow, I am so grateful for every single one of the guests that we have had. But
damn, dog, you talking about me, bro?
I'm definitely talking about you. No, let me stop. But it's just, it's just sometimes, you know what? I'm not even saying that for the guests that we've had on the show. I'm saying that for the people that we haven't had on the show. Not the ones that I'm stalling on bringing on. I mean the ones that are never coming on. Like there are times where it could be an opportunity, you know, a monetary opportunity to where you will be able to gain some monetary value for doing an interview, et cetera, or set something up that could be a bigger move, et cetera. But sometimes the guest just isn't going to fit. And that is okay. So that's something that else that I have learned. I've also learned that like consistency is more important than the amount of people watching. Something that sometimes doesn't keep me motivated is the amount of people watching. You know, it's just kind of like, damn, like this is something that I've always wanted, but no one's really watching. Or like the numbers.
Podcasters too, or it's a lot of work.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of like I've been doing this for 200 plus episodes, and it's just like I feel like I've done everything that I can. Why don't people know who the like that this podcast is what it is, and that we share so much knowledge on here, and that there's so many different things, and it's just like, yeah, I get that. And yeah, it's something that, you know, you can just give up because you're just like, yo, people are watching. Who cares? They don't care. And then, but I could do that if I wanted to, but I can't because to me, the consistent part is what I'm more dedicated to. I'm not dedicated to the numbers and the growth because I know if I'm consistent, it'll come. It comes like from learning that from going to the gym. Like when I was going to the gym very consistently, I knew and saw results. So that's the same thing that happens with podcasting. You stay consistent, you stay the course, you do what it is that you need to do, and good things are going to happen. It's like that picture that we all have seen of the guy who's, you know, whacking at the dirt, you know, to try to get to the diamonds, and he's whacking at the dirt. There's one that freaking ends up like, and then you see it where he gives up, and it's just like all he had to do was one more. All he had to do was one more, and he was right where he needed to be. But no, he gave up because there was already too much. And it's just like, okay, but like there's times where like it's too much, but are you going to keep going? Because sometimes even when you're in a relationship, it's just like, this is too much. I can just step away.
Yeah, you just going to fold?
Exactly. Like, am I just going to fold? What if I were to just push through to this next level of what this could be? And then maybe that's how it's going to become exactly what it is that I am hoping for. So, yeah. So that's something else that I've definitely have learned as well. Of course, I've learned that the ones who you start with ain't going to be there. And I'm talking about the other podcasts that I know that we're starting and, you know, are no longer around. And
all the episodes is taken down and shit. You know.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Or like it's just, you know, that's something that's just, it's just not even artists. Like there's this one artist who I love. Like she was on episode 30 something, and it was Baby Blur, and it's just like she just completely stopped doing music. And then that just like breaks my heart, you know, because she was so talented and such a young girl who has such a bright future ahead of her. But yeah, something else that I've learned is that it's good to have people that you don't know, but it's a lot more fun to get somebody that you do know. And the reason why I say that, and I mean it for people like when I have like Mari come on, when I've had like my sister come on, or even like Detta. Because Detta and I know, like all of these people that I'm mentioning, I know them pretty well. They know me pretty well.
It's like family.
Yeah, they're like family. They like know me pretty well. So then when I have those people on the podcast, it's different because it's just like you don't know what we're going to say. We both of us, me and the other person, and this could be For some other people, like when Spitz has come on, even there's just some people that now that if they've been on more than once, there's just like a different level of confidence that comes with them being on the podcast. Or even yeah, so that's just something that like I love, because like you experience that person on another level in front of a camera. What are they willing to share? How far are they willing to go? I'll be trying to push my friends sometimes when they come on to see what it is that we can get out, because I know the value of the conversations that I have with these people. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was talking to my father about being on episode 200, I mentioned to him, like, I would love for you to come on. And his thing was just like, okay, well, what are we going to talk about? I was just like, I don't even know what we're going to talk about, because I have so many questions for you that it's just like, it's just going to be one of those like on the fly.
I just know.
Yeah, like I just know that I want this type of footage of you with you answering these questions. Yeah, guys, my hair looks so luxurious. My hair is getting so long. I can't even deal. Cat Williams shit? My shit is what? Well, I just remember the head movement. I don't know the words that he said. Yeah. So, shout out to that. I also, another thing that I've learned is makeup. My goodness. That's like the one thing that like I have to like make sure looks good, because of the, the camera. And there's sometimes that there's details that the camera doesn't capture. However, that to me doesn't matter. I have done episodes in the beginning where I didn't have no makeup at all, and it just didn't feel the same. It just doesn't feel right. Makeup is something that I invest my money in, because I find so much value in your makeup looking on point. So I remember that was something that the decision that I made, I want to say the first year that we started the podcast, that I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do my makeup all the time for this show. I'm going to learn how to do my makeup good so that my makeup always looks good. And that's part of a routine. There's times where I don't want to do the podcast because I don't want to do my makeup, and I ain't going to hold nobody.
Bro, it takes a lot of time. Speaking of the audiovisual guy, here in the stupid male voice here. Like, bro, I didn't know, like, stupid. Yeah, you're right. I didn't, like, one, you don't know how long it's going to take, and one, I know not to rush, because it does take its time. Sometimes it's like, bam, it's ready. It's quicker. Sometimes it's not. Because, shit, man, like, I could imagine, certain days is certain shit. You know what I mean? Or, like, you're going for a certain look. Sometimes you need to be more patient with it, and sometimes you're like we got a life.
Yeah.
And, oh, shit, I want to do this. I want to do that. I know I can't. I gotta estimate that time, or at least be like okay with it. That's why like shooting on Saturdays sometimes is just good. Even though we have this is gonna be up in a few moments, but like shooting on Saturdays is good because, and just for podcast energy, because we still have that 9 to 5 grind. We're still on that, and doing it during the weekdays sometimes will be a little bit rushed, or it'll be like left alone, just to do on Saturday anyways. Like so.
For me, another thing
Definitely
that kind of I had to also be mindful of is that the makeup part is something that like there's times where like I can do my makeup very quickly, like how Hav is saying, and that's because that's when I'm in a moment to where I'm just like, all right, I can get this look done because I've done it before. I know how it is. So when it looked like today, because I was trying to be very specific on how it looked. And so when that happens, and then the blending, and then this, and then something else too.
Look at TikTok for more details.
And something else that happens too is that because I have the same eyeshadow palettes, it's just like, oh my God, I cannot continue. I cannot do the same look again.
Right. Not again.
Not again. Like,
not
because
just week, because on a thumbnail looking the same.
Yeah, just because I wanted to be fast. You know what I mean? Like I almost did, because I've worn this shirt before. Obviously, like this is the first time I wore this shirt. Like that's another thing. Listen, another thing I've learned from podcasting is that you run out of clothes, and sometimes you're gonna have to run them bitches back. And it is what it is.
Sometimes you just gotta dig them out.
So, yeah, I haven't worn this since episode 79. Yeah.
Oh, shit, this don't look so bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong with this real quick.
Exactly. So I was going to do my makeup the same exact way that I did it the last time that I wore this shirt. But then I'm like, but why? Like, why would I do that? So then I had to do this, which I had done before, but I hadn't done it in a very long time. And then so I wanted it to look a specific way. I wanted it to like, listen, just check my Instagram, Claudia Renee, 2 E's, 2 underscores. Yeah, so I guess to sum that up, Pav, what about yourself? Do you have anything that you want to share of what you learned of from doing podcasting from a standpoint of your view?
Dang, yeah. Hold on. I wanted to say something like, exactly that. So sometimes you could just do stuff because of comfortability. You're just comfortable on doing it. It's like that way of doing it. You've been doing it so long, it's not broken. It's not working. It's not working. It's able to do it. But sometimes you need to challenge yourself and go for a new look that you haven't done. You know what I mean? Or get new equipment or be around new things that it makes you a little bit uncomfortable, but you're learning more. Of course, what I've learned is that, you never know what to do or how to do this or how to do that until you're doing it and risking it. You're putting it out there. You're making it available for everyone to critique and for all eyes to see, right? Mm-hmm. So you do have to do that. That's the only way to get better. You could strategize as much as you want. Just know that sometimes that strategy, it could go that way or it could go a completely different way, or things not happen in the timing that you wanted to or think it. Because also it's a marathon, we can't think about getting it close, or that's also why we probably last as long as we've had, because there's other podcasts that either charge guests for guest appearances and we're just doing that for quick money. We never came into the podcast game to be like, we want to make money off of it, or we're looking to make the financial gain. We're looking to basically quit our, that is something I guess we would want to do, quit our job and just do the podcast, right? But it was
get my own makeup artist.
Of course, because you want to be successful at it. You want to be held at a high regard, but it never was like, I want to make $1 million off podcast where I can invest it in Bitcoin. It's like, no, I that's something that Claudia wanted to do. She's always wanted to be in media, so we're on the ball rolling with it. So you kind of have to.
Something like how our dad says, you got to swing the bat.
You got to, you got to swing the bat. You got to swing the bat to see how it goes, and you're not perfect. The next one's going to be better. You're only going to get better. You got to keep on doing more. Things happen. Files get missed. Someone doesn't hit record. Someone trips a chord. Things happen. Something happens in the middle of a live podcast. Or shit, the fucking computer shuts down or some shit like that. Or the live
the battery dies.
Yeah, the one time, what was it that we were live and then the internet went down or some shit like that. And then we had to do it and go live again. And then it was horrible. Or fucking your dog just wouldn't shut the fuck up. It's just things that
We've experienced that one a few times.
It's things that you experience. And sometimes they suck. But guess what? Now you know.
For sure.
Now you know. And also with longevity, at least, or just continue to do it, like how Claudia says, you could look at the numbers and it could be discouraging and all, but you have to continue on because you have to keep the faith if you really want to do it. Now if you don't really want to do it, you're like, nah, I actually don't care.
It's about almost like, did you really want to do it?
If you did, did you really want to do it, or did you really want to do this new hustle that you're now pushing? You know what I mean? What is it that you want to do, right? And at least be consistent. If it's a different podcast, at least you're still a podcaster at the end of the day. Yeah. But
kind of sad when my little rhinestones fell.
For all those who do inspire, hit us up. Let's do a link podcast too. That's also another thing that I think podcasters should do more, do more of each other's podcast. But other things that I've learned, as far as audio visual, I'm still learning that, to be honest too. That's another thing that I want to do. It's working right now. You hear you hear me and Claudia good, but Claudia's mic is better we're holding back Claudia's mic. It's better than it actually is. We need to get something to amplify it to get it better, but it would sound almost just better. But even if it's 20% better, why not?
Why not? Why that?
Yeah. Why not get it? If it was 5% better, why not? Get it to the best that it can be, and things like that. Get a focus right, or get a couple mics at first, and then build throughout time. We didn't start with the goal. We have 3 other gold mics. It was gold mic is our thing. You know what I mean? Fuck the source. It's all about the Ambition gold mics. And Claudia didn't start off with that mic.
Yeah, this was
back to that. Like,
we had like a old mic that was like used for when Hav was recording.
Look, if you have the first perfect setup, God bless you. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Whatever, either you've been saving up money or you've been finagling the bagel a little bit, like with Zip, Quad Pay, what I've been doing, and shit like that. Like, which isn't a finagle, you're just paying it in payments. But like, if you're doing stuff like that or like waiting to get it perfect, that's something else that Claudia could attest to too, because it was like, damn, are we going to wait for, so they were trying to tell Claudia to not do it just yet. Like, oh, no, wait, do this. And she was like, no, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to book my session and fucking get this episode done. I want to start doing it. So.
Yeah, they definitely told me to wait.
Like, wait for what?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, what am I going to wait for? For you? For you to be ready? Why I got to wait for you to be ready? Just book my shit.
Shit, we got it. We got it. That's not the camera we started off with either. You know what I mean?
Show lane. So yeah, we hope that you guys learned something from what we just shared with you guys. I feel like this is something a way that we can add value to you guys, and I feel like it doesn't even have to pertain to just specifically the podcast. It can pertain to anything, because that just because you've always wanted to do this doesn't mean that you're always gonna want to do it. That can apply to anything, and any other things that we said could go with whatever it is that you do in your life and your profession and your passion and all of those things.
I do want to give a big shout out, and it doesn't matter if you never hear this, and shout out to Anthony Perez, one of our neighbors where we were growing up. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. It was his birthday recently, so happy birthday. It's crazy I'm telling him happy birthday, but didn't text you. Whatever.
What?
I'm saying it here, but I didn't text him his birthday. But also, I did get the good news that he also has a business, a successful like a sandwich shop out there up in northern Florida, or just a little north of here of Miami. So shit, big shout out to that.
For real, shout out to him and happy birthday to him. A lot of Tauruses going around this month. Well, it is Taurus season, so shout out to them. Okay, so
we Taurus
that I know personally are Tío Jose.
Oh yeah, it is Sticky's
birthday. So happy birthday to Tío Jose. Also John 5th is a Taurus. His birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday to him as well. I'm trying to see who else is a Taurus. I want to say our Tío Javier is a Taurus as well, but his birthday is coming this next week that's coming.
Big shout out to Tío Javier.
Yes. So shout out to everybody that we know has birthdays.
Yeah, for real, because we almost missed all of April. We
missed we were able to say happy birthday to mommy.
Yeah, we were able to say happy birthday
and then after that we kind of took a little break. I'm kind of happy we took that break.
Coincidentally, we're right back before Mother's Day, the weekend
coincidentally
before, going into Mother's Day. We gotta figure out what we gotta do. Shit, we gotta see if we can get a little delivery or something like that. We gotta be able to do some shit like that from here.
You right. You are so right. We're gonna figure that out. We're gonna have to talk to Player and see what's up.
I'm talking about it on here to see if it happens.
For real, somebody. If anybody's listening and can help us get our mom something delivered. You gotta need
connections, and you gotta.
The one who could deliver her something is our dad. You're like,
he might be the most expensive delivery fee.
You ain't lying. All right, so let's go before we wrap the episode up, because I know we have like 20 more minutes. I wanted to go ahead and talk about some new music that has dropped. I know that this week the NEW Future dropped, which is amazing. But I know that Pusha dropped, and I know that was an album that Hav wanted to talk about, because Hav has not stopped listening to it. So Hav, talk to us about the Push album and how you're feeling it, and how many bricks you've sold.
Shit, man, I'm up in the game tough after that album. Fuck, we spin the block a couple of times. Dropped a couple packs off here and there. I love this album. I think it's a great body of work. It has one of the two best producers. There's also a new edition of it that I want to hear, and it's kind of like the Ye versus Pharrell version. So it kind of like plays the Pharrell beats, the Pharrell produced tracks first, and then the Kanye West ones. The Ye ones. So I want to hear it like that too, because that's a new experience. And also, with that being said, it also gives us that. Like these two guys going head to head in a beat battle with Pusha behind the mic, who died, at least to me in my past life, like I grew up with grinding, and the last time that shit been my shit, so So I like this album. One of my favorite songs. They just released the video for it too. Is the oh my god, Call My Bluff. There's not a song on here that I don't love, right? It's the album starts off amazingly with the Pharrell track. His flow is crazy on that one. Let the Smoker Shine, the Coops. This was one of my favorite ones because it gives me, and Kanye produced this beat, and it gives me a little bit of that. When's the last time you heard it like this? We also get a motherfucking Malice, a new Malice verse, Clips, a new album this year. Oh my god, I'll be a happy man if that shit happens, bruh. Because Malice, the way I was flowing on this, sounded crazy. And then the one that he did on the I Know Nigo, or We Know Nigo album was absolutely ridiculous. That Jay-Z verse on Neck and Wrist, that shit. What is it, Claudia? I always say this shit. Rap is liars. I don't do satire. That shit right there. He spending real money on fake watches. Shockingly, like it. He completely annihilated. One of my favorite. It's the one with Kid Cudi. One of my favorite bars on this album is the one that he says, my son is like, what? My son is a piece of art. His father's like Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. You talk about that bar a lot.
I love that bar. If I ever get blessed enough to be a father of a son or a daughter, I'm fucking saying that. I'm fucking saying
that's
that.
That's the caption.
That's the caption when I drop the photo. Facts, because that shit is hard. Just so you remember. And like, to me, like how Claudia was saying, Open Air. I'm about to listen to this album again. That Future album is tough too. We're gonna get to that. But this Almost Dry, it's a classic in my eyes. Damn, I was about to mention one of the other songs, but yeah, Diet Coke. I'm still running that whole back with the album. Like, even like the Hear Me Clearly, we've heard those songs, and those songs even sound better on the album. Production next level. I feel like whoever talked about the production is the same type of buffoonery we were talking when we heard when some people, when they heard Watch the Throne, talking about the beats on Watch the Throne. So in time they will know the geniuses Pharrell and Kanye. Don't you ever. And then you got like, it's like you have the best point guards with the best shooting guard, almost. You know,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like, you know, like, or like the coach with the player. You know, Phil Jackson and Kobe a little bit with that. But even though it's for like Pharrell and Kanye West, and them two just coming together, like, who else could do some shit like this too? Like, Pusha T is the only person that probably could get us this album, other than probably Jay. I think Jay could definitely do something like a little similar to it, or maybe not half and half to a T, but like
something.
So that's probably the only other person that I could think that would do it, and it will be receptive as it is now. A lot of people have talked about this album too, so shout out to Pusha.
It's Pusha.
Congrats, yeah, for real. Who's been on a fucking tear for the last couple years. He's dropped 2 classics in the last 2 years. Well, 4 years probably. I don't remember when Daytona was. Daytona was a couple years ago. So crazy. Like Kids See Ghosts, all that shit was a long time ago.
It's 2020. No?
Bruh, I'm saying 2020 is a long time. I gotta go home.
It's only been 2 years, bruh, and you already home. That's the craziest part.
That's the funny part about it.
I've been hearing a lot of things about the Pusha album, and even him saying that, like, based off of that verse that he got from Hove, that was like he's the greatest rapper alive, and
it's one of his favorite rappers too.
Yeah. Speaking of greatest rapper alive, Future was named greatest rapper alive by Elliot Wilson on the GQ magazine interview that he did for them. And something that we were talking about in the group chat was kind of like who else has like kind of like an impact like he does in terms of like the type of music that he comes out with, and even the amount of people who kind of like emulate what he is. It's kind of like, he was a trailblazer to the type of genre that it is trap music and the toxic music and things like that. I've heard the album plenty of times, enough to talk about it. I have my favorite song already, which is Love You Better, of course, and it's not like the LL Cool J song, but It is a really good song. I truly enjoy it. And it's one of those songs that the reason why I know the name of it is because every time that it came on, I was like, I love this song every time. So I would just look. And then, cause that's what you do when you love the song and you've heard the album so many times, you're just like, all right, no, this is a song that I really like. So let me go ahead and hear it. I listened to it at the gym. Got a good workout in. Had a good leg day. I don't know if the Future album is what got me that way, or if it was just like that I was ready for leg day, or what's going on there, because I was just so ready for that workout. But yeah, that Future album. Hav, what about yourself? What do you think about it?
So I really think that this is a great body of work. Future always, I mean, to me, delivers on his albums. I haven't really heard. Well, if I haven't heard, if there's a Future project I don't like or don't, it's because I don't know it. I haven't really listened to it. But the ones every single one I heard has been great. We really got to talk about this though, because all right, we got the influential. He is super influential, the most influential artist, you know, I would say in the last 10 years, because what we see right here is Bugatti came out in 2013. You know what I mean? So he's been out here for, and that's one of the things that I was saying, at least my argument in the group chat was just kind of like, who's been out here for the last 10 years and you still trying to listen to their new album? And they still, like, when they come out, it's almost like it's better. Like, his career is only like evolved and got bigger. Even at the highest of highs, they're still like, oh shit, Future's gonna get bigger, you know, and he's still getting bigger. You know what I mean? The whole thing with GQ, you know, that's huge. So, bruh, I think like he is one of the best rappers alive.
What
you know what I mean?
What do you think of the cover?
That's hard. No,
I love it.
That's hard. And
even the name, I never liked you. That's how I feel.
That's how I feel all the time.
I don't even like your dumb ass.
Yo, stupid dumb ass.
That's how it be. I never liked you, man. Like,
and he's been released like, bruh, DS2 was 5 years. Well, it was 7 years ago, bruh. 7 years ago. He's been
yeah, look at all those albums. I'm looking at the discography and just look at it.
He's been one of the most consistent. Like, look at these albums here. Like,
all of them.
Come on. Like, and Pluto was his first album. Pluto was in 2012. Yeah, he's been out here 10 years on a run.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And, like, my argument, too, of, like, why he's also up there is, like, you might have a favorite. And I ain't going to call no. One of my favorite rappers is Lupe Fiasco, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lupe is damn near at the same nostalgic level as like a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit, almost at the same level. How can I say that Future's not better than him though? Because really, or if no, I'm just gonna stick with Lupe. Damn, I'll be picking up on you, Lupe. That's just because I love you, bro. But 50, let's say. Fuck it, 50. I'm gonna switch it up. 50 only really had them 2 albums, and Curtis. But then fucking Kanye kicked his ass, and then we didn't want to hear 50 Cent music for like the next Into the Power theme song. Right? If you really think about it, he was your favorite rapper, or that person was your favorite rapper for only 2 years. Only 2 years, really. Because every single Eminem, you know, after the second album, you know, or the third album, fourth album for some people. You know what I mean? Like, that's when they stopped listening to their music. So I'm saying, this guy, he's still putting out music that you want to hear today.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
It's still modern. It's still super modern, and it's still good. It's still good, or not better than it once was. He's only been perfecting his unique sound more.
Yeah, and even if it just, because something that I saw on the internet was that it sounds the same, like he's just making the same music, and it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, but it's just a little different. I feel like it's like that's kind of like what you're going to expect. Like, when people talk about like Push, like, oh, well, he's talking about cocaine and shit like that. It's just like, okay, well, what do you expect? Like Wiz and her Currency, they're talking about weed. Well, what do you expect? Like, these are the type of artists and music that they kind of do. You know what I mean?
Like, why switch up completely? Like, there goes half of their shit.
Exactly, because they're the people that there's some people that say, man, it sounds the same, but when there's some people that's just like, man, this is that Future shit.
There's times that you want to listen to Future for Future. You don't want to put on Future, and you don't want him to start sounding like Logic or some shit. And I feel like there's sometimes I do not agree with that argument with Pusha T, like, or like the, you know, Currency. Like, people say, oh, they always talk about this and that. Bro, first of all, each song is different and has a different theme. Yeah, they could mention things because that's part of their lifestyle. You know, that's part of that, or that's part of the lifestyle. And you don't get it, you don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, sorry.
And if you don't get it, you ain't about it.
And also,
Simple.
like, it's like tinkering. It's like tinkering and perfecting. That's what I feel like Future has been doing, too. Because there's certain things that he's done here. Yeah, granted, maybe he's done it in other albums and other things. But he's kind of, like, perfected on how doing it.
Yep, for sure.
You know, like, there's a beginning of one song that, like, it's on some Future shit. But it's like, this is, like, a new Super Saiyan, a Future, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's just more on target. It's like he's already on, but it's just like, dang, he's hitting it even harder, you know what I mean? And even, shit.
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I keep rapping his non-even verbal verse from that song that he had. The song that he has with Kendrick. Like, nobody but Future could have done that. Like, that's all he's doing. Bitch, I'm on a roll. What? That song goes hard. Miss me with that bullshit. What? You're not a gang member, you're a tourist.
A tourist.
And so that's what makes Future to sum that conversation up, because it's a great album. Should definitely hear it. I was telling Hav that, and for me, I had never really listened to an entire Future album the way that I did this one. This was the first. So imagine, I've been listening to Future for about as long as how Hav has said that he's been around, and have enjoyed his music, especially the songs that, you know, become popular and I hear out when I go outside or things like that. So I know that his music is good. I had just never really heard an album like I did this one and ingested it the way that I did this one. And I don't know if it's because I was just so in a zone at work that I was listening to the album, would just keep playing it back and back and back and back, or because it was Friday and it was just like, I want something that's going to give me that type of energy, and Future always brings that energy out of me. During 420, Curren did a performance for NPR, Tiny Desk, and I wanted to talk about it because I've seen a lot of these at-home tiny desks that they've been doing, and Curren was the only one who actually had a tiny desk, and I loved it because it was a tiny desk for his rolling tray. So he literally,
it was like the school one.
He had like a school desk, and he put his rolling tray on there. He had, like, you know, if he ever needed to roll up or anything like that. It was really dope. It was a 420 episode. We got to enjoy it and celebrate it with him. And
now Curren does his different because we met the motherfucker too. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
and then, yeah, just anything that I see
like,
of Curren is just like,
he is the man.
Yeah,
you know?
and then it's just like, I always remember like him giving me his joint. And
like,
just
literally the
like,
joint he was smoking, like,
yeah, like
you know, like a motherfucker say, like, oh, he gave me the shirt off his back, you know, like literally that's what Curren did though, you know what I mean? Like, he just is like, oh, here you smoke, yeah, here, and then just, you know, and, oh yeah, this is my, you know, this is my strand, this is my weed, and that was like super dope. And just and then seeing him do that, you know, having his own tiny desk, and, you know, hearing Airborne, what is it called, Airborne Aquarium. I feel like that's the name. I don't know. It's that that shit goes hard. And then just hearing it like with the band, and I thought that was cool because we've seen him perform that song, but it was with the DJ, so it was just a little bit different. So shout out to that. Shout out to everybody who celebrates 420. Yeah, shout out to everybody who celebrates 420. You know, also you know, free the people who are in jail because of it. Like, it's not criminalized anymore. Y'all making it legal, and motherfuckers out here slanging that shit legally and shit. Like, let them motherfuckers go. That's just how I feel, for real. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about. I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, no, there's really nothing else that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Hav, is there anything that we're missing possibly? No, we could talk about the Lakers shit when we finish the series. So
that would be awesome. All right, guys. So make sure that you guys tune in for when we do talk about that. You never know what we're going to talk about next episode, so make sure that you tune in. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. We truly appreciate you guys. Have a few last words.
If you got a topic for us to talk about next week, there's some shit you want us to see, want us to talk about, go ahead and leave it in the comments below and let us know, and we'll give it a swing at it.
All right, guys. For the 207th time in a row, it's your girl Audi 3000 with my co-host Hav 600.
Cheat.
And we are out of here. Peace, y'all.
Be safe. The Ambition Hour, baby.